morning, sitting in front, doing a little praying, right? And I look up and it doesn't boot, and the door hit my head on it, and it booted back up, and that time it actually fired up, and I was like, I'm out.
Thanks for the patience. I'd like to call our September 24th, 2024 meeting to order. If you will all join us in a prayer and the pledge.
Will you pray with me? Our Lord, Father in heaven, we're thankful for this day. We're thankful for the many blessings you have given us. And we're thankful for this time, this opportunity to come together as a community to discuss issues that will impact this community for many, many years to come. Father, we appreciate this time that we can share in this common good of the things that we're trying to do. We pray that you give the decision makers just the knowledge and wisdom to make good decisions on behalf of this community. Help us in everything that we do, and help us to continue to be blessed. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Lewis.
Here.
Chairman Pro Tem Kennedy.
Here.
Councilwoman Oplinger.
Here.
Councilwoman Pettit.
Here.
Councilman Blades.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. First up, we have having no public comment. We'll move on to council forum. So, Mr. Kennedy.
All right. So unfortunately, I was under the weather for MML, so I'm glad everybody else got to attend. But I saw the pictures, so I did attend the Edmonds Gov demo this week. And then a quick reminder for the park board: their last movie night at the park is this Saturday. It is IF, and it starts at 7 p.m. at the softball field. So that's all I got.
Okay.
So yeah, as mentioned, I was at the MML, so a lot of good information, a lot of connections made. So
Great.
So MML, and I have to tell you that congratulations to Carrie John and Kim Kulo for getting your certified municipal officer. That was very exciting.
Yeah.
Very proud of you.
I also attended MML, and it was just a wonderful experience. That I think Jason had said it previously, that a lot of the things that they had talked about, we already have in motion with our town. So it made me feel like we're not behind the times, that we have a good vision moving forward. So that made me really proud of our town. I attended the Main Street. They had an update with the survey and such, and that was very enlightening of what's going to be happening downtown. Let's see, I have an airport meeting next week, and anybody interested in there's some grants that are available for the solid waste for recycling, and the grants are due by October 3rd. So if you have an interest, let me know.
Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, had a great time at the conference. A lot of good information, and attended some software demos that we're shopping around. So I think some of that will continue. Moving on to the consent agenda, which will be the regular session minutes from September 10th, work session minutes from September 10th, as well as the September appropriations.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda, approval of the minutes of September 10th, the minutes of the council work session on September 10th, and the appropriations.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Moving on to old business 7.1, the second reading of ordinance 2024-3332, preliminary plat of Silver Maple Estates, Plat 2. Any questions, council?
I have no further.
I'll make a motion that we approve the second reading of ordinance number 2024-3332, preliminary plat of Silver Maple Estates, Plat 2.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Sure. Yep.
This is different from the previous one. I was looking in my packet.
Councilwoman Pettit, you approved the preliminary plat. You did not at the last meeting. The council did not approve
Right.
the change in the zoning.
Okay.
In the variance.
Okay.
Yeah. So So this is just the plat.
This is just the plat?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Second.
A motion and a second, please vote.
Motion passed.
Moving on to new business, 8.1, action item, Aurora School District project request.
Council, this was brought to me by Kim Mobley, who does quite a bit with the youth at youth empowerment and stuff at the school. And she made this request, so I'm just going to kind of turn it over to them to make that request and present.
Great.
Don't think you're gonna sit back there, Miss Amanda. I'm gonna give some introductions. One of the things that we've been challenged with the last couple of years, much like the city with your comprehensive plan, was with our continuous school improvement plan, was to continue to build partnerships that promote school spirit and community climate and culture. So we have 3 organizations represented here: YEP, Youth Empowerment, Student Council, and a new organization called Sources of Strength. What we thought we'd do is paint some paw prints around the community in different places of your choosing or our choosing. We really like coming up Madison to City Hall. There should be, do you want to give them their handouts? You might have had a little picture, we got a bigger picture. The idea would be hound dog paw prints, of course. And we just want to spread it around a little bit. We do have some places picked on school property, but we kind of want to get the city's approval and the street department involved and see what else we can do. I've got Seth Shoemaker and Kylie Cole representing Sources of Strength, YEP and Stuco, and Amanda Hall representing Sources of Strength. So I'll let them talk to you about what they have in mind.
Okay.
We don't bite, come on.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do it up Madison and then also on Locust Street in front of the Armory. And then a little bit about me. I moved here 3 years ago, and YEP was something that was really good for me because it helped me become a better leader, and it helped me kind of get out of my comfort zone because I'm not a public speaker. It makes me really nervous, and it's just not my thing. So YEP helped me step outside of my comfort zone and kind of just get out there a little more. And then I also want other kids to be involved with this too. So smaller groups, but also kind of keeping it a little small, but keeping it safe for everyone.
My name is Seth Shoemaker. I've gotten the chance to get to know a few of you guys already. I've been at Aurora my whole life. Grew up down the street from Jason here.
Yep.
He took lots of pictures of me riding my scooter. But when we do this, we like to have the support of the street department, so that way we're there being as safe as possible. We will be wearing safety vests. We all have safety cones. We will also be like putting any proper signs out in advance that we need to be doing for that to just be as safe as possible. We also won't be bringing a whole bunch of kids. It'll be just a few kids, just in order to make sure that we are rewarding the kids who are actually like following the mission and like supporting community service.
Okay.
As Ms. Mobley mentioned, Sources of Strength is a new program we got put in the school. We've had a lot of loss in our community, and we decided that we needed a program to help. Sources of Strength is a strength-based upstream suicide prevention program. It focuses on 8 strengths. We dive into those strengths. We had 18 kids go to peer training and get certified through a company that came down through Colorado who also certified me. Since day 1 of school, we are now up to 52 kids that say, I struggle with mental health, or I want to advocate for mental health, and they are getting involved in this program, and they are awaiting next training. Our job is to make our community and our school a place where kids want to go, a place where kids know their voice is heard and it matters, and that's what our program is doing, and teaching those kids that it's okay to not be okay, but there's help. So that's what our program is doing, and I've been blessed enough to pair with Miss Mobley, and we're doing some things in the school.
Fabulous.
Awesome.
If you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
My big thing always is the safety, and it sounds like you've got that figured out, and you did a really good job public speaking. I have that horrible problem too, so
Yeah.
I might lose a shoe or two when I do that, so.
Yeah, just curious I think Locust is a great idea. why Madison over maybe like Lincoln or, I mean,
We kind of wanted to start in front of central office and come up to City Hall. We kind of see this footprint as, you know, a historical corridor for Aurora, but we're not against any of those other
Yeah.
streets if you will allow it.
no, I was just curious.
We kind of, we thought about all the schools. Several businesses have asked about their parking lots. We've thought about our parking lots in front of the entryways, like where the buses come in and out. That's why we didn't put a timeline on it, because initially, you know, we're all excited, we're wanting to get it all done by homecoming, and we went, oh, homecoming's 2 weeks away, maybe we should not do that. So we thought, when we talked to Dr. Shively and Dr. Yoakum, we thought if we made it like a year-long project and folded it in and about the other things that we're doing and use it, like the kids said, for a reward. We thought we could use some Fridays, so that way we're not totally unaware of school time or academics or ball games, those kind of things, but then we're not sure, you know, everybody can always do it on a Friday either, because we've got other events, but, we kind of want to sprinkle them all over town. We saw Monette do it up Broadway, and we thought, we're gonna put them everywhere. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. Was there any staff concern or thoughts from street department or otherwise?
I talked to Jason Jordan about it in detail, and he and Roger just said they'd like to visit with them about the paint to ensure that they purchase or we purchase, however that works on the partnership, of proper kind, so we can make sure it stays like our markings do.
right.
But other than that, they didn't have any concerns. They're happy to partner, and just would need to look at scheduling to make sure our guys can be there adequately.
Awesome.
The only question was related to scheduling, so yeah,
Okay. Okay, well, great. Well,
Thank you.
great job.
thanks.
Do we need to make a motion on that? It says
Be good
action
to have a
item.
motion.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the Aurora School District project requests for painting paw prints.
Second.
Motion and a second, please vote.
Motion passed.
Moving on to 8.2, walking trail fence, Robinson School.
Good evening, council. As you all know, we've been working through the process with the school in relation to the grant we have from the Missouri Department of Transportation for the walking trail that would go along behind Robinson School. And the most recent portion of that conversation has been the fence. So I provided to you in your agenda tonight a couple of different memos, one of them being a memo from August 23rd, which was post-conversation with the subcommittee where we had fencing contractors invited to come and present. And as you'll see in that documentation, there was one fence provider that provided a vinyl fencing option that is what the school is indicating that they're agreeable upon. We've had the conversation about the floodplain area, the 1 foot rise in the floodplain area, and the material that they would like to use in that section of the fence underneath. And all of those things are meeting our required code and state statute involving the floodplain. So what we're coming to you tonight about is basically an update to the council, but also just to share that conversation with the school district has indicated that they really, really like and are comfortable with this vinyl fencing material specifically that's in this packet. So the Homeland vinyl is a type of vinyl fencing that has a longer strength and durability to it, and is just a little more sturdy, substantial, and longer lasting than some other vinyl fencing that might be compared to it. So they have a little bit of concern about if we put out an open bid process for this situation, will we make sure or will we ensure that we're getting this specific fence? John and I feel a little like this fence contractor came in, he proposed everything to us, he shared some of his trade information that typically would be pretty close to the vest. And if we go out and search, if we put a bid out for only Homeland vinyl, we're now opening up his competitors when he kind of took a foot outside the box to come out and share some additional information. He's walked the property with us twice and that kind of thing. So what we would like the council to consider is, rather than our typical bid process, seeking this as a sole source provider with this fencing contractor. We feel like that ensures for both entities, both the city and the school, that we all know what we're getting, that that's the item and the material that we've agreed upon, and that might be a better way to move forward. As you can see, in this paperwork that was presented to you in your agenda tonight, there was a request from the school for the chai gray color, which is a color that is in the flyer that was presented. We were originally working with either a white or a tan option, but the school came back and said that they're interested in the chai gray. We took some pause on that because the fencing contractor had indicated that white and tan are what they order in bulk by truckload. So there might be some increase in cost. I indicated in the memo to you guys that we were unsure of that cost, but I found out yesterday late in the day, the increase to the chai gray would be about $24,600. Just to
that
go to
again?
that.
Say that, how much?
$24,600. So it's about a 50% increase in cost just for that color because they don't bulk order it. It's not one that is used on a regular basis, so they don't get quite as good a deal on it. So just wanted to share that information with you, that we would be looking at about a $25,000 increase to go to the gray. So I wanted you to have that additional information. Right now, that's where we sit. I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have any, and then discuss as needed.
So, excuse me, couple things. I feel like we in some ways did honor our procurement policy by reaching out to several vendors. Some of those gave a presentation or had you give their presentation. One of them didn't show up. So we did get a swath of different pricing and fencing options. So I kind of feel like we are covered there, and I'm totally comfortable with us going with a single supplier. In this instance, we all got to kind of touch and feel he brought examples of the fencing, and it was very thick and sturdy, and so I think that's where the school's coming from, and that they got to to see it, and we're comfortable with that product. So no concern there. I personally would not be a fan of increased price just for color. Their main concern has always been safety, and I shared that concern. So I think color is probably very secondary to that whole debate that we had, or conversation that we had, I should say, with them. So I would not be in favor of going with a gray for a 50% increase, but that's kind of my thoughts. So
Would the school be interested to help pay the upcharge of the color?
We have not had any conversation past the point of we like the chai gray.
Okay.
I responded and let them know that I would have to check with the contractor to find out if there would
Right.
be an increase in cost. And they don't even know this increase in cost yet. So this
Right.
is just, since I gathered that information yesterday late in the day, I
Okay.
wanted to ensure that the council had that information. We are planning to meet with the subcommittee again prior
Okay.
to a final determination or the memorandum of understanding being drafted,
Okay.
so that the subcommittee and the city can talk again in terms of that. So I don't know the answer to that yet, but
Okay.
we're working in that direction, and just, wanted to know the council's position so that we know how to move forward with that.
Because that would be, the school would be paying 1/3 of it, and the city then has the 2/3
Right.
of the total price.
And there is a portion of fence there that runs from the fence to the west and meets their school along the south side of their playground that is not included in the scope of our project, and the school had indicated they would like to replace that with matching fence at the same time. They are having that conversation for them to cover the cost of that for installation by our contractor at the same time. So there will already be some partnership work involved there in terms of the financial and the physicality. So we can certainly take that back if that's what the council would prefer.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thanks for doing all that too, but I agree with Jason and Teresa that the whole thing is for privacy, security, and I think color, if they wanna pay for that, chip in that money, then sorry
Yeah,
to
I
go
don't-
back again, but
I don't care what color it is,
I don't either.
and so whatever they choose is okay with me. But gentlemen,
I mean, Teresa asked the question I was gonna ask on there, and yeah, I'm at the same thing. If they wanna cover for the cost, by all means, we'll get the gray. Other than that, tan or white should be fine.
I like the vinyl because not only the durability, the potential vandalism cleanup stuff should be easier. But yeah, if it was a 3 to 5% increase for color, fine. But that is significant for a color.
And this type of vinyl fencing, like most, but just to reiterate, this type of vinyl fencing we can pull out one slat and replace it. And so
Oh,
that's
great.
something that we discussed
Okay.
that would be very beneficial. If for some reason, they indicate that a rock throw from a lawnmower is not going to bust this fence, but if for some reason something like that happened, we can replace a slat at a time. So
Okay.
it is easily repairable. and isn't gonna wear quite as much visibly like wood would do with weathering and that kind of thing. So I do believe it's a good application for
Okay.
the topic.
So no objection then to kind of just going with this sole supplier. I feel like we honored the spirit of our policy by having, other quotes ahead, so. Okay.
I agree with you.
Okay,
All right.
so for clarification, to staff, just to make sure I'm in the right arena here. So, the council is okay with moving forward with sole source provider. We are good with the vinyl fencing as produced.
Yes.
And the school could cover the cost of the gray to go to gray. Otherwise, we would stick with white or tan.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. We will schedule the next meeting with the subcommittee and let you know as we move forward.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Katie. Don't go far. 8.3, Resolution 2024-1995, Placer.ai software.
Council, we've had a few conversations about the Placer software, and hopefully you've all had the ability to look at the demo that we shared with you via email. We were able to come to an agreement with Placer for a trial that I've been able to work with for the last couple of weeks, just shy of 2 weeks. And I've been able to go in and just do some things with it. And so I've provided to you on your dais tonight, this was not part of your agenda, but I've provided to you on your dais 2 separate reports that just kind of give you a brief snapshot of some of the information we can obtain with this software. So you'll see that we have one report that's Walmart. So I just pulled one of our local retailers, and you can see that it shows that we have 365.7 thousand visits to our Walmart annually. It shows you the visits trend, so months or days of the week where we have more visits to the store and that sort of thing. We can dig a little deeper here. As you can see on that next page, on the 3rd page, it shows median household incomes and a lot of those demographic informations that we had discussed. And then in addition to that, it shows you other places that the same people that go there frequent. So you can see on this list that people that go to our Walmart often go to Brahms, McDonald's, Battlefield Mall, those sort of things. We can dig in and get a visitor journey, and that does not reflect on this report. I thought that it did, so John, I misspoke to you about that just a little bit ago, but we are able to see a visitor journey here where it'll show us that everybody that came to this Walmart came from where. And it tells us exactly what town they're coming from, if they're out in the county, and just where we're pulling that revenue from. So, and this is just a basic report. There's so many things you can dive into with this software, but that's a basic report to show you what we can pull on an active retail. The second report that you have in front of you is titled Baldwin Park. I just kind of wanted to see what this would do for us on an event, to see how close our numbers are, because I know we have some estimates like from Shannon. So this report, you'll see that I have come all the way down to the day that Light the Night takes place. So Light the Night this last year, this shows a 24-hour period from June 15th to June 16th. This last Light the Night, so this year, let me correct that. But it shows that we had 3.9 thousand visits to Baldwin Park, that the average dwell time of those visitors was 50 minutes. And then it's gonna dive into, again, on page 3, your demographic information of the people that are coming there, average medium income, education, household income, where they're also visiting. So this, for me, is a way for us to say, well, they came to Light the Night, they were from Clever, and they went to our McDonald's. And so that helps us to see a little bit of a pattern as to if they're coming here for that, what else are they doing? What else can we provide them that we're not? Those kind of things. And again, we can get that visitor journey, which is not reflected in this specific report. Mayor Lewis and I did an additional demo with Placer on Friday, just to dive in a little bit on the additional sets that they've offered to us with this. So this is for retail gap, behaviors, and that kind of thing. So we were able to see a little bit about, you can even go so far as to somebody that's coming to our Dollar General all the time likes Reese's peanut butter cups, and different things like that. So it's really mind-boggling, to be quite honest, on the forefront of it, how much we can really dig in and find out with this information. But to fast forward, I could talk all night about how much fun I've had with it in the last 2 weeks, but, and of course I'll let the mayor speak to it since he's been in on that most recent demo, but the information they tell us we can pull, I've absolutely been able to pull, and I think it could benefit us in a huge fashion. So presented to you just as we've spoke about it previously, and I'm very hopeful.
Yeah. So I immediately went into like, let's prove this thing wrong, mode. And so we were trying different things, and it was all very, I wouldn't say spot on, but, confirmed a lot of hunches and things. I'd looked up like, Perfect Images. I could tell right when it closed. We looked up the grocery store in Marionville. We could tell the day it closed, right? And we showed traffic and kind of where those people are going instead of where they were going. And so there's a few things that, I think we'll just take time to learn some of that as we dig into it. And then what to really do with that data, is another question we'll probably have to answer, but extremely valuable, very insightful, and I think it has a lot of community economic development potential among other departments. I think it will probably have a use. Probably Anthony for sure with the rec center and maybe even others. So I like what I see so far.
So the agreement that's before you this evening, in section 4 of that agreement, you see that the fees are for the 27-month initial term of a total of $29,400. So that changed a little bit from that pricing proposal that I originally shared with you, and that's based on those 2 additional data sets. So the retail gap and the behaviors, they've already built that into this, should we want to go ahead and keep those. So what you see before you there is, if we signed up now, we would be at $3,000 invoiced upon signing, so that would be immediately, and then $12,000 invoiced in January of 25 and $14,400 invoiced in January of 26. And that would take care of our 27-month term.
Well, I could see a whole lot of use for it, especially like Main Street.
Yes, absolutely. It will take us a little bit to get some of the, so right now there's just a handful of our parcels of our properties or our existing businesses that are in there where I can click and pull a report. We do have to go in, and if they're not in there, I've got to geofence them, or I've got to ask for Placer to geofence them. That'll take a little bit, but we don't have to do them all at one time, So when I know I want to look at this property specifically or this area specifically, that's my project for today, or my project for this week, or in preparation for a meeting with a developer, So it could take us a little bit to get all of that populated, but I think it'll come as we utilize it and as we need it.
Okay.
Questions?
I do not.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-1995 Placer AI software.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, council.
Resolution number 2024-1996, Aurora Recreation and Event Center rental and reservation rates.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I have something to give to you. This is the research that was done in preparation for the park board meeting that took place last Thursday in discussion of these for the recommendation.
Okay. I was hoping maybe I'd get this. Thank you. You read my mind.
Thank you.
So as you can see, we took a pretty deep dive all over the area, surrounding communities, areas, towns, to see what their facilities have or what options they have available, capacities if they had it listed, and then what they charged. So after discussion with the park board at the park board meeting last week, we came up with the recommendation that is in your packets as Schedule A. And if you see it highlighted in yellow on the recommendation or on the research page, that is what was recommended initially from the market study. So what we did is, after discussion with the park board, is decided to recommend a for-profit fee, which is what you see as a fee, and then a nonprofit rate, and then require a $50 refundable deposit for all reservations.
Okay.
Questions, thoughts?
Thank you for providing that, Anthony. It's really helpful.
Very thorough. Thank you.
No, this answers my questions that I had. Jim?
Council, I would just like to add a couple things. One of the things that I've dealt with in previous communities is that whenever we have a community facility like this that can be rented out, one of the things that happens is that everybody has a reason to get a discounted rate or to get get it for free, and everything. And by all means, some of the things are absolutely legitimate. That's not to say that they don't have legitimate good reasons and everything. So, but at the same time, we have to be always cognizant that we are expending dollars, when these facility is open, either through electricity and everything that we're doing there, and also we're expending a lot of staff time to do a lot of different things. Set up the rooms, be there to open it up, be there to close it up, all of that type of stuff. Clean it up afterwards, if need be. So we have to think about that from that standpoint. So in order to get ahead of this, is that one of the things that we looked at was when I was up in the Missouri Parks and Recreation Association, Deb Dillman and I went on a facility where they talked about that. And they had the exact same issues with their community rooms. And they said everybody pays, everybody, even the city pays, is because they take the approach is that if that room is being reserved for anything for free, that it means that it is not available for something that is going to generate revenue. And we've all had those discussions about their revenue. This is a business and stuff, and we've had those discussions. We're cautiously optimistic, but also cognizant that we don't want to hit the general fund or the parks fund too heavily with subsidizing the recreation center. So we have to keep that in mind. So that is why we brought the not-for-profit, nonprofit rates forward, so that staff don't have to come back and make that case. Is that is already a decision that is made, that has been fully understood by the council, and that staff have our directions. So we can just move forward instead of having to stop, come back, make an ask, and then that puts in a council in a position where, okay, what is legitimate, what is not? Are we dealing with everybody fairly? This makes sure that we're dealing with everyone fairly and equitably.
So if it's a not-for-profit, are they going to be required to show their 501(c)(3) or whatever?
We know who that would be. That would be the churches, and that would be, we will verify that, absolutely.
Okay.
One thing I want to clarify on there is the capacity and the square footage is from the design plans for the facility. So later on, that would be confirmed by the building inspector and the fire chief.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of anticipate us, revisiting all of this in another year or so. We're making a guess at how some of it's going to work, and if we need to make an adjustment, we can. But I think this is a great starting place. Anything else? No. Then I will make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-1996, Aurora Recreation and Event Center rental and reservation rates.
Second.
Motion and seconds. Please vote.
Tony did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to 8.5, special event application, O'Reilly Auto Parts customer appreciation.
Council, this application comes by request by title O'Reilly Auto Parts. This is an event that they have done annually within Crosby Park, but we just hadn't ever permitted it. So now they are aware that we have those requirements, so they've made formal application. The event is scheduled to be tomorrow. Tomorrow. 25 to 50 people, hot dogs and hamburgers within the park for their customer appreciation. No additional requests from staff. We discussed it at the management meeting this morning, and staff recommendation is approval.
Great. Any questions, council? I'll make a motion that we approve the special event application, O'Reilly Auto Parts customer appreciation.
Second.
Motion and second. Please vote. Moving on to 8.6, special event application, Spooktacular, 31 years.
Council, this 31 years speaks for itself. What an incredible event. And it grows every year, and it's super exciting for us as staff even to get to be a part of it. So the last couple of years, Kami's super fun as HR, so we all dress up and go out and hand out candy too, and it's just really fun. And AFB does a great job putting this together, and a lot of volunteers come together to help do that. And the only changes we have this year, we've not closed streets formally in the past. And due to the fact that there's been so many participants in the last few years, there's just been some concerns about that. So you'll see on the application that I've added some verbiage there after a meeting between, or conversation between myself, fire chief, police chief, street department superintendent. We've all discussed that, and we believe that these street closures as they're presented on the application would be adequate. So that would be closing the square, Madison from Pleasant to Olive, Locust from Washington to Jefferson, and College from Washington to Jefferson. We just think that is a good idea for safety. Dawn had some concerns on the AFB side of things, and brought that together with the police chief. So aside from that, no changes. All management team that would be a part of that from their departments is ready to do their part, get the streets closed, and be present for that event. So no concerns from your staff, and recommendation is approval.
Great. I like the changes. I'll make a motion that we approve special event application Spooktacular 31 years.
Second.
Motion and a second, please vote.
I'll abstain.
Motion passes.
Thank you, council.
Fantastic. Moving on to staff reports, city manager report.
Council, one of the things that we get to do while we're at the conferences is that we get to meet with a lot of vendors and stuff, and we always come away with contacts and information and and that sort of thing. From that is that we can put to use. They have a vendor showcase where it's 40, 50, 60 vendors, and we get to visit with them and stuff. So while I know you guys know that, I kind of say that for the benefit of the community, that they understand that. So one of the vendors that our police chief got to visit with was some representatives from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, specifically the Rural Development Office and stuff. So they have, at that point, Wes, in visiting with him, was made aware that they have a body camera program for law enforcement. So he is pursuing that as far as something that rural development might either assist or pay for us as we make requests, and when he gets everything together to make a request for that. Fire staff is attending trench and collapse training. Leaf pickup has been scheduled for the third week in October and also in the third week of November. So we'll be announcing that, putting that on Facebook. The Columbarium RFP will be advertised this week, and the park department has been busy. They've been working on finishing up tree removal in White Park. As you know, we've had some problems with a few trees falling on one of the restrooms and stuff. So the other thing is that they've been working on stump grinding and all of those to get rid of those. Otherwise, they'll sit there for the next 3, 4, 5 decades, and so before they ever rot away. So Travis and I talked about it. I said, let's get those completely out, and in all of them, our objective is to always replace that with a new tree as soon as we're done, and that creates the hole and everything else for us to do that. So they've been working on Oak Park in preparation for the car show. And then the park board on the next agenda, it will be on the next agenda. They want to discuss pollination gardens with the council in certain areas around the community, and to have just a discussion about that a little bit. Some places where we are working. Park staff is working with the members of the park board that are interested in that to identify some locations where that would work and stuff. So we think it could not only be beneficial for habitat, wildlife, and that sort of thing, but it's also a good opportunity for us to actually trim some costs. I'll give you an example. As one of them is that a couple of years ago we moved away from mowing all the back part of Baldwin Park and just letting it go back to natural grasses and stuff like that. That would take one staff member approximately about a week and a half to just bush hog all of that. So for something that nobody is back there. And so bringing back natural habitat, bringing back natural grasses serves the community in two ways. And again, the pollination and wildflowers and stuff. And that's, we've been talking with Carrie is at the Extension Office, might have some programs to help us with some of that. And then also the Conservation Department to help us with some of that. And it's just return that back to a kind of a natural prairie back there, and again, just help with pollination and wildlife and all of that.
I'm snickering because I hope that doesn't give people that don't mow their yards an incentive that they're having
It does
a
not.
pollination.
It does not. So we're going to designate some specific areas, and we'll do that through resolutions and stuff to make sure that, because we had that very conversation in the staff meeting this morning. Construction updates, none at this time for the Recreation Center. Other items is that the RFP for the fitness equipment that's went out. We've gotten very good response from that. Anthony has been working on has worked his tail off for a couple days to respond to about 30 questions that we got on clarification, asking specific things. Well, what about this equipment or this piece of equipment, things like that. And so the final proposals are due on September 30th. Stormwater, we are working on setting up a meeting with property owners, just as kind of a heads up, is probably the biggest property owner we're working with is Liberty. So we're having some discussions with Liberty about the next large stormwater project, because their property, Liberty's property, would be impacted by that. So we'll be discussing that, and we'll bring more information to you about that. If you want more information before we talk about it publicly, just hit me up. Annual line preventative maintenance, the wastewater is continuing with that. Pre-construction meeting is scheduled for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project that is getting kicked off, and we'll start working on that. The big work on that will be done after the first of the year. So a lot of this is just the initial stuff that we're moving forward on. As you mentioned, the meeting scheduled for October 3rd for the airport board meeting. Staff are being scheduled for flu shots and also the tetanus shots for anybody that wants them. Our insurance covers that for our employees, and we had that discussion. We're not forcing them to have it, but it's something. If somebody gets hurt, they go to the emergency room. First question they're going to ask is, "Do you have that?" So whether your insurance pays for it then or now doesn't matter. We're encouraging them to get it done. NPR's completed the assessment of the roofs, so we're waiting on the results on that. The management software reviews and demonstrations, those are going on. Carrie's been sitting in on that, as well as finance staff. And Jessica, the city treasurer, has kind of been taking the lead on that. Other than that, community development, community Christmas meetings have begun. And then Spooktacular, and then Carrie is going to the American Planning Association Conference on October 7th and 9th. Kami and I will be attending the Midwest Public Risk Conference, our insurance pool conference on the 3rd and 4th of October. So, and that's all we have at the moment. Okay.
You have a multi-page document on the dais in front of you that is the community survey results and the entire slideshow presentation from Main Street on September 12th. I just thought you guys might like to have a copy of that information. And within that, you'll see that Main Street's recommendation was a transformation strategy focusing on multi-generational action. So what our community survey results showed that we've always kind of looked at the census and activity in our community and thought we leaned toward a more retired type age setting. We had a bigger response from people in the 21 to 42 age range than we did. It was about equal as the retired age. So their recommended target was multi-generational, and at our Aurora Downtown Project meeting yesterday, the monthly board meeting, they voted to formally accept the recommendation from Main Street, and that's gonna be their strategy moving forward.
Good.
Great. Council, any other questions?
Nope.
No? I will make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.